Back here, first things first, we are going viral. Last night's Super Bowl festivities kicked off down in Atlanta. Rams defensive coordinator Wade Phillips was interviewed by Aqib Talib. Take a listen.
Live from Atlanta, I'm here with Coach Wade, you know, the mastermind of defense. So I just want to know, like, Coach, when you really figured, like, you really got this defensive coordinator stuff under control, like you really could be pretty good at this?
Well, I've been popping since my demo, baby.
You've been popping since his demo, man. Shout out Future. That's the question that's burning. He been popping since his demo.
That's the answer.
So that's a line from the new Future album. And you guys might think Aqib Talib fed that to Wade Phillips. Nah, man. Wade Phillips rocks that in his F-350. He drives through the streets of Southern California.
No chance. Did you see the way he was just listening to the question? He had to close his eyes and really interpret what he was saying. There's no way. He was
So he's an older fella. His hearing might be a little off.
Chance.
That's how he relates to the young guys.
Demo.
Since his demo.
Since his demo.
Man, Wade Phillips got 35 years on you and about 35 cool points.
And 35 pounds.
Yeah, but we don't mind. Wade, just like he's got people feeding him information. Jenna and I, we needed that information fed up. Okay? We don't know about Future. I mean, I know Future, but I wouldn't have known that exactly right there.
Did you just fat shame Wade Phillips?
No, I didn't. I air 5'd CC. So
no, but I said he's got 35 years and cool points on you, and you said, and 35 pounds.
That's the only thing I have on Wade Phillips. He beats me across the board, and even that, there are days
I think you might be more attractive, too.
All right, that's great. Time for some stories to start your morning. See, a life vest at this point would help me. Anything? Many have speculated this could be Rob Gronkowski's last game, the Super Bowl, that is, especially since he talked about retiring last year. When Gronk was asked about this, he said retirement is one of the last things on his mind. See, do you think the Super Bowl could be Gronk's last game?
Absolutely, for a number of reasons. Overall, health-wise, Gronk is not the same player. And the ability to be able to every year try to either rehab and then get back in that type of shape. And I believe that the caveat of all things is dealing with Bill Belichick every day. Rob Gronkowski, didn't you hear him at the press conference? You see my text messages? I'm afraid I might get in trouble. I mean, he's not even free. So Gronk has done an amazing job. He's had an amazing career. But, yes, he's close to the end.
And I think he's a Hall of Famer already, and he can make a lot of money outside of football and keep that.
Didn't Coach Mangini tell you about putting people in the Hall of Fame?
Man, he's been in the league almost a decade. 6
games.
Patty Mahomes, I called him the league MVP, and I was right 6 games in. No, Gronk's a Hall of Famer because of the peak his career reached. I think it's more likely than not that the last football game he plays is Sunday.
All right, moving on. Zion Williamson had another great night in a Duke win over Notre Dame last night. Scored 26 points, grabbed 9 rebounds on only 12 shots. Nick, how often do I ask you this? How good is Zion?
All right, I'll put him in the Hall of Fame. We start carving the bust right now. Don't care he ain't played in the NBA yet. This kid is the most can't-miss #1 pick since the guy who's been in the news all week, Anthony Davis. He went into the year, he was 3rd or 4th on draft boards. He was the 3rd recruit. I watched this kid in high school. Never seen an athlete like him. I didn't know he was such a great defensive player from those high school highlights. We now see that. Only thing he doesn't have is a reliable jump shot, but it's still better than some of the jump shots we see of NBA superstars who can't shoot. So he's spectacular.
And, Nick, we heard some comments that upset us earlier in the season. People were talking about, oh, he's going to be the #1 pick. Stop playing college basketball. It's amazing how much better he's gotten in the last month, how much better he's going to get after going through the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament. Man, he is a remarkable talent that is only getting better. Learn how to shoot, Zion, though.
Right, but the idea that basketball players play basketball. Yes. This isn't like when people encourage a college running back sit out the year. It's not like we got a lot of NFL running backs. What do you do in the offseason? I find tackle football games to play in, and people hit me.
What about Jadeveon Clowney? They told him, oh, you should leave college. And, well, it's still a lot he can learn about football.
Sure, but at least with football, there's the real injury risk. Zion, keep playing. Even if he gets hurt, he's the #1 pick.
More now on Anthony Davis. So Boston has long been rumored to be a potential landing spot for AD, but according to reports, the Celtics are not a top priority for the Brow. In addition, there is a growing belief that Kyrie Irving will not sign a long-term deal with the Celtics. All right, CC, What do you make of this? What do you make of the Celtics situation?
On paper, and people have talked about it for the last year and a half, 2 years, as far as Danny Ainge. They've always wanted to be involved in the conversation if Anthony Davis ever decided to leave the New Orleans Pelicans. So now we're to that moment. But with this announcement, there's a few things that people must know. As attractive as Boston thought they might be, they're not as attracted based on Anthony Davis, what he wants to do long term, and the timing of his announcement. He did this strategic. With Clutch Sports, they announced it 10 days before the trade deadline. They know that the Celtics can't participate with their best offer, given that him and Kyrie Irving have that
designated player extension.
Yeah, they have that both in their contract where they can't be on the roster until past this summer together. So he knew that. Clutch Sports knew that. And if Anthony Davis, if he wanted to be in Boston, he wouldn't have declared, I wouldn't sign an extension till after the trade deadline at the beginning of the summer.
Right. So we'll talk about the Kyrie stuff in a moment. But Anthony Davis made it very clear. We didn't need to report anything. I'm glad it's being officially reported, but it was the moment that he made the announcement when he did, that was a signal, Boston, I'm not interested in you. Because it's not like it's a shock to Rich Paul and Anthony Davis that Boston cannot make a trade offer unless they're going to include Kyrie Irving, which the only reason Anthony Davis would want to stay in Boston would be if Kyrie's there.
And I think they're strategic in the timing of doing it, not only with the 10-day window and what they want to do moving forward. They know Boston can't participate like with their best offer. And I believe that Anthony Davis, behind the scenes, has talked to Kyrie Irving. He has more intel because they have a relationship. But, man, this is a tough thing for Boston, waiting all this time talking about Anthony Davis. Like, you would think that Boston would be prime. They have better assets than Los Angeles. But when you look at it on paper, Nick,
the assets aren't quite what we think they are. So let's just assume that Anthony Davis doesn't get traded before the deadline. And then Boston does get back in it. Because once Kyrie is on a new contract, then he can be on the same team as Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis is not going to sign an extension with the Celtics, won't commit to that, will Danny Ainge include Jason Tatum? All reports I've heard are no. If he won't include Jason Tatum, then what are these assets? Jaylen Brown's your best player asset. Then it's Terry Rozier. Then it's Marcus Smart. Because Gordon Hayward is no longer an asset. His contract is actually a net negative. 10 points in 20 minutes a game, making $20+ million. All right, let's talk about the pick. They have their own pick. That's fine. That'll be in the mid to late 20s. The Kings pick, which is not as good as people thought it was going to be because the Kings are better, but that'll be a lottery pick. The Grizzlies pick, that's top 8 protected. That probably does not convey this year. The Clippers pick is lottery protected the next 2 years, and then it becomes second rounders. So all these picks, that Grizzlies pick might be an awesome pick in 2 or 3 years when it finally conveys. Jason Tatum might not be even an offer. So now all of a sudden, can the Celtics make a better offer? Will they make a better offer than the Lakers? And then there's the Kyrie part of it, which is Kyrie sat on that, stood up in front of everybody, said, I want to be a Celtic. I want to sign an extension here. Things can change. And so it's tumultuous times for the Celtics because I think we are in a place where it is more likely that right now that Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving are on the same team together next year with the Lakers than that they're on the same team together next year with the Celtics. And that would mean everything the Celtics have been building towards was for naught.
And I don't think Anthony Davis and Clutch Sports, because it doesn't benefit them and or the New Orleans Pelicans, for them to say right now they're not going to sign with Boston. I believe they're going to play this out strategically the way they've played out the announcement 10 days before, because it's not in the Pelicans' best interest to close the door on Boston as a potential landing spot for Anthony Davis.
And I just think if they do that, it could anger the Pelicans to an extent where they're like, you know what, we'll send you anywhere but the Lakers. So I don't think he wants to, because it will hurt the Pelicans' leverage if Anthony Davis publicly says, I'll only re-sign with the Lakers.
Right, because the other rumor is that that's the only place he would sign an extension.
And I think that's probably true, but they're not publicly saying that.
All right, let's get back to football now. Less than a week away from